This is Hannibal here. Good evening from the Hannibal TV on YouTube and Facebook with a daily wrestling news update. Don Frye, who I've interviewed numerous times, and I actually did report on a few months ago. I mean, he's been back smoking and drinking, and I guess he's also been back in the hospital the last 3 weeks. He's had a lot of health issues, walks around with a cane. He's been in and out of the hospital for years. I wish him a speedy recovery. Someone who's, Ted DiBiase's whole family has been involved in a lot of scandals recently. There's Ted DiBiase Jr. on his left there, former WWE wrestler, has a trial coming up this week. His other son, Brett DiBiase, already has pled guilty to federal charges related to conspiracy to defraud the government. They all basically, according to reports, allegedly misappropriated welfare funds in relation to their Heart of David ministries. Ted DiBiase was Bible thumping for a while. Ted DiBiase Jr. is going to court this week regarding conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to commit theft related to programs that are receiving federal funds, 6 counts of wire fraud, 2 counts of theft concerning programs receiving federal funds, as well as money laundering charges. So he's in a lot of trouble. This is basically stealing from the poor and giving to the rich type stuff. A few months ago, he did say this while leaving the court, which is kind of funny. I guess that must maybe be his wife.
Jesus loves you, brother. God bless you, man.
Is that all you got to say, Ted?
That's it, buddy.
You're accused of stealing millions of dollars from poor people in Mississippi.
It's all good.
Accused of stealing millions of dollars from the poor people in Mississippi, which is one of the most poorest states. I've actually driven through it back when I interviewed Kamala, who actually lived in a trailer in Mississippi, but he lived in a fancy trailer. But I mean, I think Ted DiBiase was more on the civil side, where the son's it's criminal, but to be a Bible thumping preacher and be stealing money from the poor, that's pretty bad accusations for sure. I did report earlier in a short that Kevin Nash, I guess, has issues with CM Punk making wrestling in a shirt, I guess. He's not getting paid enough to go to the gym or something, so who knows why he's wearing a shirt. But yeah, if you're making millions and millions and millions of dollars for wearing a shirt or for wrestling, and you can't even get into good enough shape to not wear a shirt, I mean, it's just where wrestling has gone. And I see some people saying, well, Cena never always wore a shirt. When did John Cena always wear a shirt? Let me just even look that up. John Cena wrestling. Okay, I'm typing this up on Google. Okay, and I'm just going to share the screen right now. Share screen. John Cena wrestling. People are saying, well, John Cena never wore a shirt or always wore a shirt. Okay, maybe he wore a shirt sometimes, but it's just the laziness. And they're getting further and further away from realism. Lots of people under contract that don't even look like athletes. But again, I just don't watch. And the other company, I heard apparently Tony Khan's going around bragging that he is the one that totally scripted the Continental Classic tournament all by himself. So guys, he's going to get this over by doing interviews talking about how he scripted this tournament. Again, it's just like WWE. Their Unreal show, sure, it's more interesting than the product. I get it. But how bad is it when it's more interesting to see the Unreal show than the product? or to watch the news, watch me talking about the news or hear Kevin Nash talking about the product than actually watching it. That's the point where we're at. The product is just not entertaining, and we'd rather watch people like me or Kevin Nash talk about the product. And I'm not in the same level as Nash, but some people were throwing shade at Nash and saying, oh, he's just blah, 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 blah. He has no right to give an opinion. He was a terrible drawing champion. He was actually, by percentage, I did look this up a few years ago, by percentage, he had the highest crowds when he was WCW champion. When the time that he was champion there, it had the highest crowds. There was lots of factors that played into that, but it's actually a myth that he is the lowest drawing champion. There's far lower drawing champions in WWE history than Kevin Nash, and for God's sake, they're only doing like 20 house shows total this year, 2025, so you can't even compare this year to the years they were doing 300 or more house shows. And keep in mind, at some points there was A, B, and C house shows. So it's so bad now that house shows aren't even profitable enough to put on events. And by the way, I was also saying my main issue with CM Punk is Saudi Arabia. If you're an advocate for gays or transgenders, they will put you in jail. And if you actually are, you could be killed. And people were giving me slack. And by the way, I don't care if you want to give me slack. I believe in freedom of speech and the right to be whoever the hell you want to be, as long as you're not like doing people any harm. People are acting. My issue is CM Punk says he's he's a supporter of gay rights and transgender rights. He wears the transgender rights shirts, but he loves Saudi Arabia. That's my problem with him. Do I think gay people should be killed? No. And for the people that think that, go ahead. You have the right to think whatever you want. I don't think so. Some people said, well, why do they get a whole month of gay pride and veterans only get a Veterans Day? You have a good point there. And I'm furthest from political. I'm just saying, if you're going to say you're political like CM Punk, he's contradicting himself by saying he loves Saudi Arabia, where they still kill people for being gay. And I dare you to wear your trans rights shirt there. It's not going to work out very well. I dare you, though. Someone says he wore one in the ring, but not usually in a match. There you go. Again, wrestling is different. I don't even watch anymore because I hate it. Someone says Cena threw a shirt in the crowd at ECW and they tossed it back. I remember when Cody Rhodes, before he left AEW, he threw a belt in the AEW crowd and they tossed it back. Someone's watching sumo wrestling instead of modern wrestling. I mean, I found other interests as well. I read the news because, you know what? I'm always going to be interested in the news, and it's a good job. Hey, I got almost 18 million hits on Facebook alone so far this month, which is pretty damn good. So to talk about wrestling and to follow the news, I'm still interested in it, but I'd rather watch superstars from 1986 or 1987 that I haven't seen because I didn't start watching until 89, 90-ish. Than anything from current product, because I'm just not a fan at all of the current product. CM Punk and the WWE love money more than human rights. Yeah, when you got the Saudi Arabia logo on your ring in Washington, I mean, I'm just not into that. I have zero interest in that. TNA coming to AMC on Thursday nights. Again, I don't have cable, so that makes no difference to me. The good thing about that, though, is supposedly AMC is going to pay them more money than what they were getting. And keep in mind, TNA has not even done a 0.01 rating in a long time. You have to do a 0.01 rating to get a rating. TNA hasn't done that forever. So I hope that they can actually pop a rating on AMC. But at this point, they're in heavy with WWE, and they're kind of like a farm system to WWE. Matt says sumo is pretty good. There you go. You guys can like whatever you want. not everyone's into the stuff that I'm into, and I don't want to watch sumo. I'll be honest. I'd rather watch ladies oil wrestling than sumo wrestling. Someone says it's become money over integrity. I agree. Well, TNA is always going to be the minor league, although it is going to be interesting because they might become more popular than AEW. AEW is dropping in popularity really badly. And I do think stuff like Tony Khan doing interviews saying, "Hey, I booked the Continental Classic all by myself." Does that make any of you guys want to watch this? Really? If I'm not watching it because I think it's too geeky, and you have the owner going around bragging that he booked the Continental Classic tournament himself, is that going to make you really want to watch it? No. I'm just not into it. But again, I don't want to be negative. If you like it, go ahead. I'm more interested in what Kevin Nash has to say about CM Punk wrestling in a shirt for whatever reason, and if Ted DiBiase's kid is going to go to jail or not. Because it's too bad, because he could have been like Randy Orton. He was signed at a similar time to Randy Orton. He had the look. I mean, he had everything that Cody Rhodes had. And I heard he was an even better amateur wrestler. He was more of a legitimate amateur wrestler than Cody Rhodes too. So it's too bad he went down the wrong path. Someone says modern wrestling is in danger of becoming as irrelevant as modern boxing. Well, I think modern boxing, with the gimmicks they've been doing lately, is getting some huge paydays. But again, I don't know if like the boxers that have wanted to be boxers all their life, other than the select few that are getting the celebrity matches, how great they're doing. But I do know Saudi Arabia is throwing a lot of money at modern boxing. So I heard that Anthony Joshua got $52 million for fighting Ngannou and around $90 million for fighting Jake Paul. So at least there's one guy making a huge amount of money, which, by the way, supposedly he was in a car accident in Nigeria recently. So hopefully he'll be all right. But I heard he was all right. Someone says they watch Raw and Lunacy every week. Someone says, asking about Tatanka, I did not like Tatanka. I thought he was extremely arrogant. He was farting in the ring when I was wrestling him. He did not smell good. He did not cut his nails, so when he was chopping me, the nails were digging into me. He was acting when I was wrestling him in 2008 like he was from like the popular era of wrestling, like he was one of those 80s golden era guys rather than those mid 90s guys. But no, I did not like Tatanka, and also there was some issue getting him across the border. He had some minor charge from years ago that you had to pay an extra fee to get him across, which I believe was $250, which really sucked to have to pay. And he didn't draw on that show either. Someone says he loves wrestling, but they're not good actors anymore. It seems like they're trying too hard to act rather than wrestle. Yeah. I just think the characters are gone, like the Pipers, the Rudes, the Flairs, the Hogans, the Macho Mans. They were all characters. Now we have like Brock Lesnar, who's still a character. The characters are few and far between. But Lesnar's at the end of his run. The last I heard from Teddy Hart, Philip, was he missed a court date from an MDMA charge and went in Florida and went back to Canada. So that's literally the last I heard, that he's living in a small town in Canada. No, I don't see the next star. I don't see who's going to be. I don't think John Cena. I actually think like Brock Lesnar is more popular overall than John Cena. That's my personal opinion. And I don't think Roman Reigns has eclipsed Cena. And I think they've just killed Roman Reigns off. He hasn't wrestled enough in recent years. He lost a lot of his momentum. They've had Braun Breaker lose to too many guys like Sami Zayn and too many meaningless matches that he should have won. Could they get his relevancy back? Yes, but they should have brought Braun Breaker in like Goldberg. But at the same time, he's not that tall. He's not even as tall as a Cody Rhodes. I noticed when he stands in there against like Drew McIntyre was significantly taller than Breaker. So it's hard to build him as like a total Goldberg type guy when he's not as big as Goldberg. But what's going on with the King of Connecticut death? It's weird. They never had a funeral for him. Something weird happened there. And again, it's not my battle to fight, but something weird happened. And I do believe that if he did take his own life, it was to save a worse fate for possibly him and other people that he loved. I believe that might be the reason. If he did, there's just too many unusual circumstances going on there. The Usos are champs again. Any logic? Well, they're the Rocks. They're related to The Rock, and The Rock is one of the big board members of WWE. Yeah, it's sad about King of Connecticut. As I said, he was supposed to be in my Bloodhunter Thirst and Rage movie. He had even bought his plane ticket. He was going to be one of the detectives in the movie. So you all know how he was. You'd think if he was really going to kill himself, he would want to at least have been in the movie before he killed himself. Not that my movie is like on the level of a Hollywood movie, but he would have wanted his face stamped in another place. I just think there was way too many weird things happening. But again, I don't know his personal life. I know he interviewed a lot of mobsters. I'm not saying that had anything to do with it. I also know that he had some negative things to say publicly about the stuff surrounding Phil Baroni. There was a lot of weird stuff. But one thing's for sure, King of Connecticut was a better guy than Kilby, who was a total piece of shit. Yeah, no, I would never patch him up. He's a piece of shit. Who, by the way, again, he got onto a show by saying he was going to bring me in to wrestle Super Crazy, which, by the way, he paid thousands of dollars to fly Super Crazy to that show from Japan to wrestle me. And then instead of just having me, he brought in Angel Medina to replace me, and he had some geeky nerd interview. Super Crazy. And then he tried to get me a fake copyright strike after. He's as big as a geek as you can find and as big of a pussy as you can find. And let's never talk about him again. Let the wicked rest. And again, that match with Medina against Super Crazy got 70 views in 7 months. Way to go. Way to go. There's a good example of a guy, instead of training to be a wrestler, he just wanted to invest money in wrestling shows and make himself the star of the show without having a clue how to wrestle. He has like a hard-on for Angel Medina. It's like, oh, I'm friends with an ECW guy. Don't pay him. Don't pay him and ask him a favor and see how good friends you are with him. I guarantee you he's not going to do anything for you for free, pal. Gordon Soley, he was pretty damn good. Greetings to you from Trinidad, the home of Victor Javica, one of the owners of WWC Puerto Rico. Yeah, well, that was card subject to change, but that was just a low blow. And again, I'm the one that had brought that loser into the business, and he backstabbed me. And now he's out of the business again. So the hell with him. And I wish everyone a wonderful night. I have some other work to do, and I appreciate you tuning in. Please give this video a like. We're going to hit 1 million subscribers in 2026. Over halfway there now.